A small window into the world. In genres like racing games, developers strive for realistic visuals, almost akin to live footage. However, no matter how great your graphics and simulation are, it'll never feel like you're actually driving. There are a few reasons for this, but one especially important factor is how small screens are. When a player's sitting in front of their screen, it only takes up about this much of their vision. It's limited to around 30 degrees. Naturally, that doesn't compare to what we see when we're really driving. Not even close. In games, a wider field of view is condensed into that narrow window. But that brings its own conflicts. TV screens are really quite confined. As such, we have to be constantly aware of how much real estate we're taking up at any given time. In racing games, a cockpit viewpoint would probably feel the most realistic, and yet I feel like most developers tend to go for something different. It can make the game hard to play since the screen space available for actual gameplay ends up severely decreased. You could try playing in VR instead, but the lower resolution will make distant objects too blurry to really see. That's a problem when the player is using it to see more. And when driving in real life, you can glance sideways, like this. But the only way to do that in VR is to turn your entire head. Still, I recommend you overlook these downsides and give VR racing a try, even just once. Motion sickness is always a possibility. But for games that separate your viewpoint and direction of travel, VR is truly the perfect fit. Back to the topic at hand, it's important to think about just how much screen space you're using for your gameplay. Think about first-person shooters. One thing I question is how the screen is this big, and yet the target you're trying to hit is this small. You need to be able to see your surroundings, so that's not a problem per se. But I do feel it lacks some impact as a form of entertainment. In Kid Icarus Uprising, I compensated for this by making enemies several times bigger than the player, but it really depends on what you're going for. The width of the screen is but a small window. When you get too wrapped up in games, it can become easy to lose sight of this. Try to put some thought into how you utilize the different parts of your screen, and you might just end up with better results. Help that small window reach its maximum potential. Stage clear.